Welcome to Sacred Harmony, where aligned energy inspires. Tonight's guest is Susanne Kos, serial entrepreneur, author, and the ultimate manifesto of magical realities. From living in Bali to running multiple successful ventures, Suzanne has cracked the code behind accelerated success, and it all ventures starts from synchronicity. Her book, Super-Synchronicity, isn't about wishful thinking or surface level affirmations. It's about reprogramming your identity and turning into the frequency where meaningful coincidences aren't luck, they're inevitable. So, Suzanne, what exactly is your super synchronicity and how is it different from just being lucky or positive thinking?
Synchronicity is for me, it's really the secret ingredient for rapid manifestation, because maybe I have to explain first a little bit about synchronicity itself. I guess everybody knows there is something I call everyday synchronicities. This is, for example, you think about somebody and a few moments later they call you, or you hum a song and play it in the radio, or you meet a person and the person just gives you the right information that you need at that moment. So this I call everyday synchronicities. But if we go deeper into the term, it was first quoted from a very famous Swiss psychologist, Carl Gustav Jung, and he describes it as a chain of coincidences. They are not related to each other, but they lead to a certain outcome. So for me, to make manifestations real, well, yeah, with hard work, for sure you can achieve anything. But there is this little dose of luck or these lucky chances or a unforeseen twist in the whole story that just leads you much quicker to your goal. And for me, this is a frequency where you can enter, because I think these possibilities are always there, but you don't see them because all your old beliefs, they really block you. And even if you are very spiritually awakened and very aware, there's so many deep beliefs, it's so hard to get rid of them. So this is why I developed with my own story because how you can tell people something, you have to go through it by yourself. So I'm my entire life already into manifesting, and I can say I really made my dream life. And it started with this sailing boat and the diving business on the island of Bali for more than or almost 12 years. Then I founded a really successful jewelry brand. And the jewelry brand I sold last year for like a six-figure amount. I just sold the brand, which was incredible to get that money for it. But you know, in the beginning, it was for me, it was more natural, and I didn't really know. I was just always so sure that it will happen. But if you want to repeat it, it's harder, you know. And it's not just like sitting there and wishing for something, because if you just wish, most of the time the universe doesn't deliver. So what I figured out that it's really a frequency where you can tap in, and this is the frequency of synchronicity, and it's more 100% belief, or it's a frequency of knowing. So you know it's true for you, and this is in my formula. It's this yes, I knew it, or yes, I did it feeling, and you can cultivate it.
Absolutely. So, was there a defining moment when synchronicity changed the course of your life?
Absolutely. Because as I said before, this with the sailing boat in Bali, this I was young and I wasn't aware about the risks. But later on, when I founded the jewelry brand, yeah, I had already two children at that time, you know, and responsibility kicked in, and everyday life, and you don't have so much time anymore to focus on yourself. So it didn't work out in the beginning as I planned it. So, and it really I think to wake up, you need at one time in your life, you need to hit the rock bottom somehow. And with me it happened. There was like 2 years where nothing worked out and everything went down, no money left, and really stressed out, private and business wise. And this was the time when I started reflecting, uh, how to get how to get the luck back, or to make it more easy, because everything was so hard at the time. And then I figured out that, because I tried many of these manifestations tools, or personal development stuff, but nothing worked for me. It was just exhausting, and it's like a downward spiral. So I think also for the listeners, it's nice to hear success stories, but I think it's always the point, if you don't have the success you want, or if your life is not as you wish it to be, this is the point, how to get out of this. And for me, it's the way you think about yourself, and the way you think about and feel about your own luck. So when you're in this downward situation, um, it's hard to get out, but it's like training your muscle. You have to train your brain to think in a certain way, and it's just repetition, repetition. In the beginning, the best is if you do it hourly, or or any possibility you have, you repeat the formula, or you repeat the thoughts you want to think, and to create these emotions, because the emotions are the crucial part of the whole thing, and they make things happen, and they open your eyes for the real possibilities you have. Because sometimes I call it, we have a kind of a how addiction. We stick to the how. There is this voice inside you, the control freak, who tells you how it should work out, or what has to happen before. And to get over this how addiction, um, to, it's so necessary to be open to the real possibilities, or the easier ways, because sometimes there are solutions you could not even dream about. A solution like that, this what I call the lucky twist. There is suddenly a totally different way is opening up, but you have to be open for that. So for me, this was the point where synchronicity, where I heard the first time about the term synchronicity, and I realized that my outer world is just a reflection of my inner world. And if you have big dreams one day, but the next day you are starting hesitating again, or I'm not sure, what you're sending out is like it's like different messages. It's like interfering the frequency. So you have to get these clear emotions without hesitating. And yeah, and then when I was down this for like 2 years and nothing worked out, and then I started to apply this stuff. And I just wrote down at the time, I think it was something like, oh, in 1 month I want to have 10,000 euros to turn over with the business, and in 6 months I want to have 100,000. And if you think about this, it's with jewelry, and especially like to sell jewelry. It was Bali bracelets, like with little crystals on it. It was a spiritual brand. The name was Wish Crystal Jewelry. So it was quite a niche market. But yeah, I met the right people. I just did the right steps. And this is what I think is like this. It's 90% in your mind and 10% work in the outside. Because for me at that time, what changed, before I was keeping myself busy with stupid tasks. But when I got myself clear and focused, I did a few steps every day, but they nailed it down. And it became reality. So the business went up, and really exactly 6 months after the formula, we had this 100,000 turnover per month, and it was a crazy story. And last year was the same. when I decided to sell the jewelry brand, everybody was telling me, oh, it's such a niche market, it's hard to sell, or it takes at least a year to sell e-commerce business. But in my head, it was different. In my head, it was like, yeah, well, I'm going to offer it on some of these platforms, and the perfect buyer is going to find me, and they are not interested in the statistics and numbers. They love the brand, they see the potential in the brand, and they just buy it. And this was right before I wrote the book, and it was exactly 23 days after I started with it. I had the buyer, and they paid the price without even negotiating about it. And at that time, my dream was to write this kind of fantasy fiction book, something really fun. But then I decided, no, this was again because I repeated it again, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have to share, I have to share my story, and because I think it's sometimes you just need to be inspired, and you like my story, it were like really crazy things with the boat, with the jewelry, and I I manifested my dream soulmate partner, it was all part of it. So I think if you hear my story, if you read it, you can see that even the craziest dreams can come true.
That's powerful. Synchronicity isn't random, it's the universe matching your alignment.
Yes, exactly. This is this frequency, because it's not this just what I said before, to make a wish, or to think it one time is not enough. It's like really you are radiating it out, and you feel like when you start repeating it, you feel like infinite, and that's what the frequency is about, and this is what makes the universe work, because you're radiating, and you have only one message, and not because you have also to work on your, for sure, on your fears. It's not, fear is nothing bad, but it shouldn't be the leader of all your decisions. So for me, there are a few steps with the beliefs, and also with the beliefs, I think it's impossible to find all your old beliefs or to get them out at the root. So for me, it's like more like overwriting the beliefs. Even if you don't know the blocking belief, you override it with your new beliefs, to step into this frequency of knowing, and the frequency of trust.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you emphasize inner identity as the root of manifestation. How does someone start to reprogram their inner image when they felt stuck or limited for years?
I developed a formula, because I figured out that at the end it always works the same, and at the bottom line, almost everybody has the same issues. It's, for me, it's this how addiction, it's self-sabotage. It happens so many times that just right before you reach your goal, the self-sabotage kicks in, and you start like, oh, like not doing the necessary steps. You have to do it, but it's like, oh, you're too lazy, or oh, maybe tomorrow. And what I think you have to go through these steps is like, it's a clean up, and to be aware of your own self-sabotage patterns, but you end up with a formula. And what I do in my formula is, it's a mind game, where you play with your inner child and your future self, because I also think that it's so hard to really heal your inner child, because the memories, there's so long time ago. So in my story, it's just you picture yourself as a kid, and you say, oh, little Susie, come along with me. I want to do this. What do you think about it? You just take your inner child with you, and you can tell your inner child what the good stuff already happened. So, in the same mind game I do with the future self, because I like to step into the future self, the version of you that has reached already all your goals. This version of you is living already your dream life. So the same way how your inner child can trust your present self, you as your present self, you can also trust your future self. And I like this idea of stepping into the future self. So sometimes in the morning when I start working, and I don't want to get lost in stupid stuff, I think about like, what would my future self, or I ask my future self, what should I do today to make it quicker? you know so get rid of unnecessary stuff, or getting lost in emails, or whatever. So really, it's like, dear future self, what I'm going to do, what is the best thing I can do today to make it quicker?
Love that. Your life doesn't change when you try harder, it changes when you become someone new.
Yeah, totally, exactly. For me, it's like hard work. This is also a belief we have, that it must be hard. I think if something is really hard, or so many obstacles, it's maybe just not the right way. And this is what I said in the beginning. Yeah, with hard work you can achieve anything, but if you are like, if it's your soul path, or if it's the way, it's really that one is really good for you, it should flow somehow. And for me, meanwhile, it's like that. If, yeah, I have an idea, I decide something and it doesn't work, or I get no response, then it's, for me, I'm okay with that. I don't take it personally. It's just not the way right now. And it's really always the same. There's one door is closing and the next is opening. But most of the people, they stuck. This is what I said before, the how addiction, because you think, oh, this must be the way, or this must happen before. No, there is another way, or not one other way. There are like hundreds or thousand different ways to reach your goal.
I absolutely agree. So, what role does intuition or listening to signs play into tapping into synchronity? And how can people tell the difference between a real sign and just wishful thinking?
I think wishful thinking, this is the one. Yeah, it's like one day, oh, I want to have $1 million, and the next day, you get an invoice and you're breaking down because, oh, this is just not okay, and it won't work out. And this frequency of really, because from at the end of the day, we all need money, and to have money is something good. And even if you wish for money, but there is inside you whatever, if you're spiritual, you should not be earn too much or take money, and or money is, I don't know, is bad somehow, or your parents were fighting about money. This is interfering with the whole thing. And you have to be really sure about what you want. And I like to call it surrounding noise. This is your partner, your family, your friends, or the media, where you think you need this or you want that. And I think it's so important, before you make a decision, or if you start like writing your ideal life, is to really to close your eyes and take a few breaths. Because I think your emotions and your gut, it tells you always the truth. Because if you need this one moment to feel yourself, and the answer. It's like, if you think about something, and there's always a feeling. It's just we sometimes we forget, or we just we stick to old ideas, or what your parents are expecting from you. But there is always a voice inside you that tells you the truth and where to go.
So relatable. When we tune in, life becomes a conversation, not just a chase.
What you were saying?
I was saying that's so relatable because when
Yeah.
we tune Life just becomes a conversation, not a chase.
Exactly. Totally, totally. And it's also the only this is the one thing, if somebody is stuck, it's really you have to listen to yourself, because the truth is inside you. And I'm so sure, because at the end it's always working out for you. It or let if you want to stay with the universe is good, you know. And if you have a wish, and the universe is happy to deliver. It's just if there are some limitations or beliefs that are blocking you, that all what is doing, it's like it's showing it to you. So there is like an obstacle, and it's just showing it to you. And for me, it's in the meantime like that. If I see that there's a strange situation, or it's not happening like I thought, I will say, oh my goodness, thank you for making me aware, you know. And it's like an really in this moment where I see that there is like a limiting belief, even if I don't really can verbalize it by myself, I just realize, oh, there's something holding me back. I said, oh, thank you for making me aware that there is still something inside me. And I just tell myself, sometimes even I say, oh, whatever it is, even if I don't know exactly, but there is something, I just going to delete it. I just let go. I want to let go of all what is what is blocking me. And I, yeah, just repeat that.
That's amazing. So, what would you say to someone listening right now who's skeptical or struggling? Someone who wants to believe in magic but just feels blocked.
It's so fun, you know. I like this woo woo, but you know, woo woo works. And we are living in a really interesting time right now, because now spirituality meets with science. With let's just take the quantum physics. Um, there are experiments. They can prove it. For example, like synchronicity, you can compare with this famous quantum entanglement, that they're like little particles. They are connected through time and space. They are, but if one changes, the other part changes without any difference in time, and there are interconnections. And like the traditional physics, they cannot explain it. Or even Einstein, the greatest physicist of all time, for him it was spooky, and he didn't want to believe it. But nowadays it's proven, and it's repeated proven. So for me, it's very important to understand that we have five senses, and with our limited five senses, we cannot grab everything what is going on. But there are things, they are outside of our like official senses. And yeah, we cannot get it, but it's still there. It doesn't, for all this stuff, it doesn't matter if you can rationally understand it, but it's there. And for me, the eye-opening is, if you take the atoms, the tiniest particles, there is still so much space in between, you know. And this space is energy, and this is what we are all working with, and what we are feeling. Because even the most rational businessman, if you enter a room, you can feel the energy of the people. So there is something more than our well-known five senses.
That's the spark. Synchronity starts when we expect alignment, not effort alone.
Yes, exactly. Well done. A well summary.
Mhm. Yeah. So, Suzanne, thank you for opening the portal to the frequency where life gets fun, fast, and deeply fulfilling.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. And to our listeners, you are not far. You're just a frequency shift away from the life you dream of. So, until next time, stay open, follow the signs, and trust that the universe is already aligning everything for you.